Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, ladies and gentlemen, and all in between, and welcome back to part 17 of The Noble Path for the Life and Suffering of Sir Brante. So it's been a while since I've last played this, so I'm a little bit out of touch, so I need to just remind myself about what's going on and the state we're in. But I know we're continuing to search for evidence to overthrow the Patriarch. So let's start and jump straight in. It's the year 1142, chapter 4, The Search for Evidence. You are walking up the marbled stairs that lead to the doors of the prefecture. The sword of the younger twin, carved from stone, looms above the doors, just as the case of Dorius Otten now looms over you. Preparing this case will take many long months, or even years. The words of Prefect Elborn are evidence enough of that, and time and again you will ask yourself, are you ready to see this case through to the end? Father meets you at the stairs, and judging by the dour look about him, news of your most recent case has already reached him. Son, I didn't want to discuss this back home. Elborn is our friend, and I stand by him at all times, but he's dragged you too far into something that is far too dangerous. I'm not going to repeat your grandfather's mistakes, so I won't tell my son how to live his life or what to do, but I ask you to please consider our family. Will it be worth it to let us come to harm, even if the triumph of justice and law is at stake? There are already rumours at the prefecture. They say you're getting ready to summon a highborn Archnian to court. Soon these rumours will spread beyond the prefecture walls. You and I are both Brantes. Perhaps we ought to stay away from something so dangerous. Some battles are too ugly for us to win. You can always slow down the process and bide your time with routine paperwork. Avoid attracting unwanted attention. This way your career and our family honour would not be at risk. Trust me in this, son. Rather than making a selfless sacrifice, we can achieve far more through tireless service for the good of the law. You promise Father you will consider his words. You say goodbye and return to your office. You are at a crossroads. If you are to make any headway in the case against Otten, you have to start now, while the trail of his misdeeds is still fresh. So we've got a choice here. Already. We're going to risk our family reputation. Which isn't great to begin with anyway. Everything is pretty rubbish at the minute. It'll probably mean the destruction of our family home to arrest someone like Otten, but we should see what happens. You have little first-hand knowledge of Otten's criminal wrongdoings, only Tomas's stories and what you have seen for yourself. Turning this case into a trial requires far more evidence than that. Your friend could be the key to the entire case if he can help you find the other men who have suffered under the remorseless Archnian, but Tomas is a hunted man. He has every reason to lay low and steer clear of the courthouse. If Tomas can put you in touch with other victims and witnesses among the soldiers and officers of the Legion, perhaps you could gather evidence yourself. But the Legion may meet a lone stranger such as you with too much resistance. Things might get ugly. You consider your options. Apart from Tomas, who else could help you gather compelling evidence against the commander? Otten is an Archnian from an ancient dynasty. Anyone involved will hold their tongue no matter what. The way things are right now, not a single soul would risk angering the Ottens to aid a middling judge from an unknown family. Unless an even more highborn Archnian chooses to support your cause. Our recent lover. Gaius Tempus, the imperial overseer of Magla, the emperor's own brother. Every aristocrat in the province knows he detests Doris Otten for remaining loyal to Archduke Milandas. Ensuring the overseer's support would increase your authority greatly and give you a chance to gather evidence against Otten without Tomas lifting a finger. But the imperial overseer is one step above the prefect, your immediate supervisor. You can only address Gaius Tempus directly if you keep it a secret from Elborn. Communicating directly with the overseer of the province means defying your loyalty to Elborn. Are you willing to do this? Puzzled, you start pacing around your office. Oh no, they're both locked anyway. It's time to decide how you will begin this case. Depending on what you choose, the case against Otten could lead you to unprecedented success or the end of your career, or even your very life. Okay, so unfortunately we can't do either of these two. We can't ask Thomas for evidence because he's in hiding. And we can't ask we can't ask Gaius for help either because our reputation and relationship isn't good enough with him. So we can search for evidence on our own. We set off to find the trail of Otten's misdeeds on our own, even though having no support could spell great danger. Well, we don't waste our time. The case against Commander Otten is too much of a risk. You dedicate yourself to other cases at the prefecture instead. To be honest, I think I'm actually going to choose that option. You know, we can't ask Tomas, we can't ask Gaius, and with the state our family is in, I don't think we can risk it, so unfortunately for this time I have to let that case be. Father is right. There is no reason to risk your well-being and the well-being of your friends and family like this. I would have risked it if I could have asked Tomas or Gaius Tempest. This way you will not antagonize the aristocracy. With no noble human or Archean perceiving you as a threat, your career will be secure and it may even flourish. You will refrain from pursuing Otten for now and commit only the minimum effort necessary to the case. Without leaving your office, you draw up a detailed list of Otten's potential transgressions and indicate that acquiring credible evidence for these crimes is currently impossible. The Legion officers who have fallen victim to Otten's sword are unlikely to speak of the duels, anxious as they are to avoid getting challenged again. For many of them, another duel will be their last. The lack of formal complaints from the officers or their families makes inaction even easier. The officers met their death in the line of duty. What else is there to say? You add these conclusions to the thin folder against Otten, then file it away and move on to other cases. One day Prefect Elborn pays you a visit to see your progress firsthand. Are you saying you've learned nothing else of note, Brante? What a pity. The Legion soldiers are not the only ones who fear Commander Otten, it seems. I hoped you would have been braver than your father, but this is understandable. A dangerous case like this is nothing but a hindrance to a promising young judge who seeks to advance his career, is it not? Well then, it saddens me to say it, but so far we lack the evidence to have the commander indicted. Especially since he is a highborn Archean. But this is only the beginning. The situation could change at any time. I see you've put away Otten's case to focus on others. Quite sensible, seeing as we have no alternative right now. If you want to have any chance of getting him indicted in court, we need to make the nobles in the province recognize duels as an act of murder. This means defying a tradition of old, a road perilous and seldom travelled. It means enforcing the rule of law over the Anizot gentry. For now, Sir Brante, return to your other duties, and pay particular attention to any dueling incidents. We will take our next step against Otten when the time is right. At the end of the day, you run into your father on the way out of the office. As you go down the winding staircase leading to the exit, he gives you a quick hug when no one is looking. I spoke with Elborn, Morgan. He's disappointed in you, but don't take it personally. You chose to avoid the ire of people more powerful than us. You did the right thing. It's much easier for Elborn to get involved in something like this. He's a baron and a noble of the sword. An Archnian's word won't be enough to have him executed. You, on the other hand, don't have that privilege. You can't bring any hope or justice to this world if you're dead. And Father's maxed out, but still. This case, it's much more serious than it may seem. Even Sir Otten, highborn Archnian though he is just a pawn in a much larger game. The Brante family will do well to stay off the board entirely. Yeah, it's not looking like we're going to get that. I don't know if we're going to get any of these, to be honest. A noble by the sword doesn't look likely because we don't have reputation or wealth. So... my career's gone up a little bit, which is nice. I'm one away from future prefect, which is quite cool. And my willpower is really strong, which is great to have. So, unfortunately not the way we wanted things to go, but I have a feeling going forward, a lot of this game is going to be like this. Stefan's Gambit. What's this about? This is the Wedding of Gloria. You have hardly found any time for family matters this year. The events taking place in the city keep you busy at all hours. Tonight you come home extremely late, but the fireplace in the sitting room is lit. By the fire you see Stefan with a glass of wine. Your elder brother has been waiting for you. You take a seat in the chair by Stefan's side. Your brother keeps turning his glass with his long fingers. Morgan, we have to talk about Gloria. She flatly refuses to behave as she ought to. Her antics are ruining our family's reputation. If this situation persists, nobility of the sword will be out of the question. Brother, I do not wish her ill, but we have no right to sit idly by. Regrettably, Gloria will never truly be a part of the Brante family. Her origins are too tarnished, so it is our duty to find her a new family. It is high time Gloria got married. But we can't just give our sister to a commoner, can we? And how could any noble wed her knowing her origins? It's been a stumbling block for a long time, but I finally found a suitable match for her. His name is Jose El Pelletier. He is a young nobleman of the sword, recently graduated from the college, and now he has a position at the city hall. Do you recall the reception several years ago, where he could not take his eyes off Gloria? Pelletier has been obsessed with her ever since. Not even her lowly origins can deter him. Admittedly, Gloria does not reciprocate his affection just yet. So let us convince Gloria that becoming Sir L. Pelletier's bride is her chance to escape her current situation, and then let us pray she comes to her senses and puts her rebellious ways behind her. Isn't this an ideal solution? After marrying L. Pelletier, Gloria will be a noblewoman herself, will be granting her the freedom she's craved since she was a girl, and then she can write poetry and do whatever else takes her fancy. I will enter into negotiations with the L. Pelletier family. Rumour has it Jose's father already has a future wife in mind for him, the daughter of an important chancellery official, but Jose's passion must win out in the end, don't you agree? As for you, Morgan, please help me with Gloria. You're closest with her. You can make her see how beneficial this match will be. She must fulfill her duty to the family that took her in after all. Stefan looks at you expectantly. You are at a crossroads. Will you accept your brother's plan or refuse him? Will this marriage be a blessing, and for whom? I am going to agree. We're giving Gloria the chance she wants to do some free things. I know it's not exactly what she wants, but I think there's lots of benefits to it for her and for our family. You remain silent for some time, weighing your decision. The plan your brother has proposed sounds reasonable. In a new family, and with a noble title, Gloria will be able to put all the resentment about her fate behind her and be free of the limitations of a lowly estate. You let Stefan know that you are on his side. A broad smile lights up his face as he reclines in his chair. I knew you'd be sensible. Together we can certainly make it happen, but remember how stubborn Gloria is. An easy victory is not to be expected. The next morning you invite Gloria to join you in the library for a private conversation. You inquire carefully about your sister's thoughts on marriage. If a nobleman of the sword were to wed her, she would join the noble estate, and all the arts would be open to her. Gloria laughs in response. Become a nobleman? In all of Anizot you'd never find a single nobleman of the sword who would ever marry a low-born girl like me. I don't even have a father. You mention Jose L. Pelletier. This spirited young gentleman would be willing to join Gloria in wedlock. Marry L. Pelletier? Morgan, you don't understand. Sure, he's easy on the eyes. He's a skilled warrior and a respected nobleman, but he's been after me for a year now, and I've managed to figure out what he's after. He needs a wife to give birth to heirs. Follow him around obediently at social gatherings and praise his chivalry. Can you see me in that role? Yeah, but come on, Gloria. Like, he's good looking. He's, a respectable warrior, and he's he's a nobleman. Gloria falls silent for a moment, gathering her thoughts. Besides, I don't even want to be a noblewoman, okay? I can't just live peacefully within the noble estate knowing that other commoners are still suffering. I can't just pretend their misery has nothing to do with me. Yeah, but surely you could use your position as a noblewoman to help alleviate some suffering. You try your best. You try to give her a taste of the benefits that a noble name brings, but your sister doesn't even want to hear you. This is all Stefan's idea, isn't it? You'd never throw me out of the house on your own, so hear this, it's not going to happen. I think she's being a bit spoiled here, to be honest. Later you inform Stefan of your sister's refusal. His face turns to stone. At least he likes us a lot. The ingrate! I've almost come to an agreement with old El Pelletier. All the pains we've taken to arrange her future, and this is how she repays us. Well, we'll proceed without consulting her. Brother, we need to devise a way to put pressure on Gloria, even if it takes us a long time. So you and your elder brother made a secret plan to marry Gloria off. Ugh. That's going to bring down unity, no doubt. I fear our decision of wanting to become a nobleman of the sword is gone. Oh. And the fight for justice is awful as well. But our career is very close to becoming the future prefect, which would be great. A realm unknown. The sun is setting on a cold, windy day as you return from the prefecture. To your surprise, a messenger awaits you at the door with an urgent letter from Sir Elborn. You open the letter. Brante, there is an urgent case that I must entrust to you. We have just received a report of a secret society formed by young nobles. The Archduke's family may be involved. This concerns me. I suspect a possible plot to depose Overseer Tempest. Normally the secret chancellery handles all such cases, but I'd rather investigate the rumours of the plot before there is any action. Preventing unnecessary bloodshed and disgrace would be prudent. You are to investigate this matter as soon as possible. The gendarmes tracked down a suspicious nobleman by the name of Alexis L. Lance. Based on his confession, a meeting of this society will be held tonight. Unfortunately, this is all we were able to learn from him. The L. Lance family is of too high standing for more thorough questioning. Fortunately, all members of this secret society wear masks when attending meetings. We have acquired El Lance's personal mask and will ensure that he is late to the meeting. You should be able to impersonate him quite easily. You are to attend the meeting tonight and learn as much as possible about the secret society. This will allow us to foil a dangerous plot, or save many young people from the secret chancellery. Well, that sounds ominous. The letter includes a delicate gilded mask of intricate workmanship. Fortunately, it fits your face perfectly. It seems your plans for tonight have changed. Following the prefect's instructions, you come at an appointed hour to an inconspicuous mansion on the edge of Anisot, with a spacious yard and a tall fence around it. The gatekeepers bow and open the door as soon as they see you. It seems the mask is enough to convince them you belong inside. Inside the yard you see noble carriages, many more than you had expected. You are ushered into a dressing room of sorts. A change of clothes already awaits you inside. It is a curious garb, a square of flowing, sparkling cloth with clasps and cords to keep it from unwrapping. You have never seen anything like it. With this strange robe and the gilded mask over your normal clothes and face, you cannot help but feel rather silly. This attire feels positively unsuitable for any kind of plotting or scheming. That looks rather cool, I think. Next, you proceed to a large room. The windows are covered in black cloth to keep prying eyes away, but you forget about it moments later. What seems to be a strange performance is playing out before your very eyes. You hear droning, unfamiliar music coming seemingly from nowhere. You see candlelight dancing and glimmering. Ribbons of gold and silver are hung along the walls as decorations, and there are people, many people, like you. They are dressed in flowing robes and delicate gilded masks with narrow slits for eyes. The people are talking. They stand unexpectedly close to one another, their hands on each other's shoulders. You approach one of the groups, hoping to overhear the subject of their conversation, but you almost recoil when several arms reach out at once, attempting to grasp you tenderly by the shoulder. Steeling yourself, you put a hand on another person's forearm. The masked people seem friendly and genial. No one appears surprised by your insecurity. And their conversations are also quite out of the ordinary. You hear unfamiliar names, names that could belong to legendary heroes of old, or to people here who have taken them as secret identities. You hear mentions of books you do not know, and emotions they felt while reading them. Their conversations feel like a strange dream. You hear several voices singing in a far-off corner of the room. There are no lyrics to the song. Each voice maintains its own note. Together these voices form a tender, softly aching melody. It feels enrapturing. It spirits you away. You feel so distant now from the purpose of your visit, so withdrawn from the judge's trade, so far away from the Empire, and from your very self. A hand touches your shoulder, bringing you back to your senses. A pair of familiar eyes look at you intently from behind a glinting, greenish-silver mask. They belong to Octavia. You pull back and bow to the Archduke's daughter. I believe I recognize the man behind this mask. I never expected to see you here today, my extraordinary human. But I must behave here. You would do best to do the same. We are not alone. It would be best if we are not seen too close to one another. As for this place, Sir Brante, allow me to explain. This is my circle of La Tari. Oh, so it's hers. She is in charge. And before you ask, no, we do not plot, nor do we scheme. We have removed ourselves as far as possible from such machinations. This place is a little world of our own, a brief respite from tradition and noble customs and other such fuss. Our gathering is but a pretense, a game of make-believe. We pretend we are neither nobles nor citizens of the blessed empire, nor humans nor Arcanians, but the La Tari. Do you know what this word means? I would not be surprised if you have never heard of the La Tari. These days the people of La Tari are mentioned only in rare historical works. Long before us, in an age when this land was fertile and green, the La Tari lived upon the land that would become Magla. They were masters of a remarkable art. They could create worlds from nothing but their conscious minds. Many of these people come here for simple entertainment and a brief taste of freedom. Others seek a respite from the binding customs of the noble lot. Still, others feel encumbered by their blood ties and ancestral obligations. Only here are we fully free from the burden of our past and our present. Yet some among us seek more then brief moments of freedom. They are drawn here by a fascination with the La Tari and their idea that our entire existence can be shaped by the mind alone. We strive to know the La Tari people for ourselves. We strive to continue their teachings. We strive to become them. If we happen to master the art of shaping worlds from our own minds, we may yet break free of the trap that is this harsh existence. Surprised by this, you ask her why she is telling you this so openly. She knows that the rituals of extinct races are held in the same regard as magic and punishable as such. In response to your question, Octavia suddenly takes off her golden mask and reveals a slight smile on her once hidden face. May your voice ne'er speak words of deceit. To great shame lies the path of untruth. Where an Arcanian lies, where a human denies, the La Tari speak truth, forsooth. I'm not afraid. The truth of the La Tari matters more to me than any persecution. You came here in secret and wearing a mask, which means the prefecture has taken an interest in my little gatherings, but I'm confident you will describe this as an innocent club of young nobles and keep our fragile world from prying eyes and ears. Would you do this for me, Morgan Brante? Oh, I don't know. These words spoken by Octavia sound more like an assertion than a question, but you are in no hurry to respond. Your thoughts are tangled, lost among the echoing voices, fluid motions, and transcendent music. This gathering is in violation of the law. This you cannot deny. All rituals of extinct races were banned at the foundation of the Empire. You may summon the gendarmes here at any moment. You only need to give a sign to the driver. And when they get here, the circle of La Tari will be gone in an instant. You will prove to the city that not even the most noble of its denizens are above the law. But Octavia will never forgive you. You could, on the other hand, keep the circle of La Tari a secret from Elborn and report this meeting as a harmless gathering of young nobles looking for an opportunity to socialize. But if the secret chancellery ever takes interest in these meetings, you will be powerless. Someone has already reported Octavia's circle to the prefecture. There is a very good chance these reports will continue. Perhaps if you tell Octavia of the danger she is facing, she will disband the circle herself. There is one more way you could resolve this predicament. With a piece of paper, some ink, and a bit of skill, the Circle of La Tari could become a noble historical society, one of many dozen in Anatot alone. Legitimized by the city, Octavia's gatherings would remain a secret within this mansion. But do you have enough influence to make this possible, and will it be wise to expend it in this way? Say something, Morgan. There is no time to be quiet. The great mystery of La Tari is about to begin. Oh, nice. We've unlocked all the options. That's good. And as usual, my philosophy is the locked options are the best ones. So we could keep their secret, ban them, convince her to ban them. Actually, because of my manipulation, it's interesting. Or I could legitimize the circle. I kind of want to do that, to be honest. Let's legitimize the circle. You find a way to help the Circle of La Tari continue to exist as a historical society. You chuckle, shaking your head. How quaint! A group of nobles hiding from sight, wearing masks, studying the culture of a long-dead race. Has Lady Octavia never considered taking her historical studies a bit more seriously? Octavia's eyes narrow, trying to discern the meaning behind your words. There is a way to make the meetings of the Circle fully legitimate, you continue. You have enough influence to get the papers they need and have them signed by the right people. Octavia's face lights up. She continues your half-finished thought right away. Indeed, my dear Sir Brante, welcome to a meeting of our Imperial Historical Society. Surely you will be so kind as to procure us a proper plaque for the door. You nod. With a genial smile, Octavia extends her hand to you. You take it and kiss it gently. If only we were alone so I could show you the full extent of my gratitude, but the great mystery of the night is about to begin. You should leave us. You'll bring danger upon the circle if you're seen coming here again. You'd best get those papers prepared right away, kind Morgan. The members of the circle are already gathering in the middle of the room, ready to begin their mysterious ritual. You feel dozens of eyes on you from behind the gilded masks. They will not begin until you leave the circle. Following Lady Octavia's suggestion, you change into your normal clothes and leave the mansion. The next day you report to Elborn and put his concerns to rest. There was no sign whatsoever of any noble plot, which is true, and that's what he sent us there for, to look for schemes or plots, and we didn't find any. This group is nothing but a historical society run by several young nobles who meet to discuss the cultures of old. They simply lack legitimacy, but you can rectify that. I mean, we're actually, in some ways, giving an increase to religious freedom, so I'm okay with that. This sounds suspicious, Brante, and the Archduke's daughter is involved. I hope you know what you're doing. Either way, I'm glad we didn't sick the gendarmes on them. I hope the Secret Chancellery and Sir El Ferro never learn of those reports. I doubt the advisor would be as tolerant of their youthful amusements. You assured the Prefect that Lady Octavia's Historical Society will have all the permits they need to operate without arousing suspicion, and so the Anazot Historical Society for the Study of Ancient Peoples is founded. The City Hall wastes no time approving the necessary paperwork. Every official there knows that Judge Brante is a respectable gentleman with friends in high places, and your busy patrons pay no heed to the follies of young nobles. Octavia sends you her reward in the form of a letter. When you open the envelope to read it, a gilded key clinks onto the floor. Morgan, I am impressed by your abilities. You know how to use your connections and bring me joy. It pleases me to know that I was right about you. A chest matching this key will be delivered to your estate tonight. Farewell, Morgan. It will be some time before we meet again. I have much to do on my own. You cannot help but think of Octavia and those who followed her. They have dared to reject their nature, lot, and birth in an attempt to become something else entirely. But do they have what it takes to cast off the shackles of their existence, or are they nothing but madmen who yearn for the impossible? It's no harm having her with a +1. As for Octavia and her circle of La Tari, you heard nothing of them for a long time. After that night, the Archduke's daughter seems to vanish from the social circles of Anizot. She's never been one to tell you about her plans. Your encounters with her have been ended as abruptly as they had begun. Our wealth has increased a little bit, which is nice. We got an increase in diplomacy, which is really good, so we're a masterful diplomat. Theology's gone up by 1, which is nice. And willpower's gone down a little bit, which is okay because we've got plenty of it left. So happy enough with that decision. The years press on. We should get at least one more event done before the end of this video. Year 1143, the last straw. Rumours are running wild in Anizot. People say that a mysterious clandestine society called the Last Straw holds the entirety of the city's seedy underbelly in its clutches. With men and safe houses all over Anizot plotting and scheming against the nobles and the rulers of the province. Their leader is a woman, a ruthless criminal by the name of Sophia, who we know very well. She has evaded all attempts at capture. The common people both fear the Last Straw and sympathise with their cause. If the rumours are true, the city finally has someone who will stop at nothing to help the people claim their rights. But who would support a secret organisation? And how did the insurgents manage to survive this long? No one in the city knows the answers. Magistrate Elvarman must assuage the people's fears once again. The vile mutineers and heretics who call themselves the Last Straw will be caught and executed very soon, and anyone who has given them money and shelter will meet the same fate. The Secret Chancellery will make sure of that. But even facing a manhunt, the Last Straw still endures. Slowly but surely, the influence of this underground organisation is spreading throughout the city. There's unrest now. The struggle for power continues, and the wealth of Magra is pretty awful. Year 1143, Chapter 4, Threats and Promises. I wonder how long it would take me actually to perfect this game to get a perfect ending where we save our mother, where we become a noble of the sword and do all the best options and everything, if it's even possible. You are in the middle of ascending the city hall's long curved marble staircase, a small man beneath the building's towering vault. You were suddenly visited that night by messengers from Magistrate Elvarman. They insisted the reason was most urgent. You are already expected upstairs. There's a deafening silence in the lavishly decorated corridors, your footsteps the only noise you can hear. Finally you enter the spacious room that is the office of Elvarman, a stately official of considerable age. You find him sitting in his comfortable chair of carved wood. He acknowledges your presence with a nod. However, the magistrate is not alone. Oh god, this is going to be autumn. Oh, it is. By the window of the office stands a tall Arcanian. The cape of the Imperial Legion covers his shoulders. He is Dorius Otten, the commander of Magla in the flesh. He does not even bother to turn around and look at you. The magistrate gestures to you formally, beckoning you closer. Judge Brante, you have come at last. Sir Otten has been eagerly awaiting your arrival. You see, the commander has learned about a litigation being prepared against him at the prefecture. He demanded that an end be put to these machinations at once, and I humbly offered him my assistance. Slowly Otten turns to face you. He eyes you with cold contempt. Brante, you again. So you've been chosen to oversee this so-called case against me. I don't envy you. I will be brief. I will not stand idly by in the face of slander and baseless accusations. Give me your word of honour as a nobleman that you will do everything in your power to put a stop to this litigation. Only then will you be free to leave. I will treat any other answer as an insult against my noble lineage, and let it be known that Sir El Varman holds many positions, such as the chairman's seat at the Court of Honour, which means that any insult will be soon followed by a legitimate duel of honour. I am sure you know full well how others have fared in duels against me. Oh, what a prick. Otten turns toward the window before you say anything, as if your answer has already been heard. Magistrate Elvarman watches Otten and you silently with a mysterious smirk. You stand before the two lords of the city, a young man only recently ennobled by the mantle. Any word that leaves your lips now will affect your fate. So I can give him my word, just give him my word. I can't get his protection, because I don't have a relationship with him. I could retaliate against Otten, where I stand my ground, and I've got the fighting skill for it apparently. I force him to back down, or I put him at ease. I mean, we know we're not going to take a case against him if we don't have the evidence, so it seems fairly foolish to rile him. But at the same time, he's a prick, so I think, although I hate to do it, I'm going to put him at ease. If I was going to take the case against him, I'd retaliate against him and tell him to go stuff himself, but we're not doing that, so. Defying Otten's will now means facing true death by his sword, and your family will be left to suffer next. You have no choice but to lie and mislead the enraged Arcanian, doing what you can to mollify him. And so you bow deeply and speak as meekly as you can. Indeed, you say, His Excellency has every right to feel wronged by the prefecture. There is indeed a folder with his name on it in the archives. But you do not seek to besmirch Otten's honourable name. No, quite the contrary. You have merely been told to investigate slanderous rumours of illegal duels, and so far you have found no evidence that could tarnish the honour of the commander of the Magla. It is true that Sir Otten is an impeccable master of the sword, and no opponent can duel him without suffering a lesser death, but His Excellency had every right to duel whomever he chooses. You, on the other hand, are but a humble servant of the law. To you, even the thought of initiating litigation against an Arcanian lord is simply unthinkable. Who would ever seek to judge guilty those who have been chosen by the gods themselves to rule over the rest of the empire? Quit your grovelling, Brante. I don't need to waste my time on a duel to see you're no threat to me. So much the better for me then. The Archduke is expecting me already. But pray to the twins, if I ever hear a word of this so-called case ever again, farewell. Otten quickly walks out of the magistrate's office. Once his cape has disappeared down the long corridor, Elvarman turns to you with a smile of approval. I see you're getting more and more accustomed to knowing your place, Brante. The likes of you are always a perfect fit in the ranks of power, even if you will never reach the very top. Once again, I am most pleased to have you with us. You leave the city hall with a heavy heart. Sir Elborn wants Otten's case to progress, and so it will. No matter how much you have to bluff and delude those in power, Otten's sword will continue to loom over you until the end of his case comes. We got some manipulation, which is good, but we're not really using it. God, I'd love to nail that case, but sadly we don't have the chance to do it. Let's finish on this. Nobleman's honour. Otten's case still looms over you, a burden and a threat. As the strife between the estates grows more bitter, the judge's trade grows tougher by the day. The commoners demand more rights and legal protections. The nobles do their best to push back. As things stand right now, any verdict made in court may result in upheaval in the province and possibly determine the outcome of your case against Otten. One day in a park by the Falaz estate favoured by dueling Anizot nobles, you see a curly-haired young man lying prone in a small sunlit square. His body has been pierced by a sword and it has not vanished, a true death. You are here to investigate a report of an illegal duel. The winner is still here, a slender middle-aged noble in an elegant black jacket. His hand is still on the hilt of his sword, surrounded by gendarmes. Your orders, Your Honour. Sir El Corvio will not submit his own, and we wouldn't dare use force against him. You sign for the gendarmes to lower their weapons and approach the duelist. El Corvio's eyes widen and his face comes to life when he notices you. Before you can ask him, the nobleman begins to speak, far louder than necessary. It was a duel sanctioned by the Court of Honour, that is all. The late Sir Eleste questioned my loyalty to the Emperor and called me an apostate. He left me no other choice but to defend my honour, and now he's dead. Please be quick with your verdict, Sir Judge. I am expected at the capital. You do know who I am, don't you? Before you can say a single word, a carriage bearing the crest of Magistrate Elvarman rolls to the gate. The magistrate furrows his silvery brow as he looks at the sorrowful scene, then gestures politely for El Corvio to approach his carriage. With a chuckle, the duelist walks through the line of gendarmes and leans on the carriage. Meanwhile, the magistrate takes you aside for a moment. Brante, as you know, I am the chairman of our city's Court of Honour. I refused to sanction this duel for as long as I could, since true death is on the line. But Alan El Corvio insisted that denying him would spell trouble for the city of Anizot. Regrettably, he's a small yet important person in the Emperor's court. He used to command the Emperor's personal guard. I realize that you must mete out justice as your duty demands, but remember, duels of honour are one of the cornerstones of imperial tradition, one of the pillars that support the twins' divine vision of the Empire. You have the authority here to punish El Corvio, but be careful. He might make a dangerous enemy, both for yourself and for all the nobles of Anizot. That fool Eleste didn't know this, and now he's lying there before us. We would be wise not to repeat his mistake. Oh dear. The magistrate of Anizot glances around, then continues in a hushed tone. This is the exact example that Sir Elborn asked us for, an illegal duel. Brante, this situation is far from ordinary. If the fate of your city means anything to you, it would be best to let El Corvio go without a trial. Anizot doesn't need any trouble from the capital, and the LS states are not as strong as they used to be. They'll get through it. You may fine him if you wish. El Corvio will pay it and move on, and justice will be done, at least to some extent. However, if you can defuse the matter entirely, you will earn favour with all the aristocracy of Anizot, and I'll personally see to it you get a swift promotion. Can we defuse it? No. Deep in thought, you gaze upon the body of the dead duelist and the long shadow of El Corvio. The decision you're about to make could influence all future duels in the province, as well as your own standing. So we could find El Corvio and sentence him to capital punishment, because we've got a great relationship with Octavia. Wow. I can't legalize duels because I don't have the promise to Elborn. Oh wow, if I had had justice a lot higher than this, I could have pronounced the Court of Honour as illegal. Wow. I mean, he asked me to defuse it, which this wouldn't do. I guess legalized duel would. And my career is actually at the point where I could do that. So that's probably the one I need to increase my position. I see. That's not a good option for us actually, because I made the promise to pursue it. I can't do that. That would be a great one to do, but just isn't high enough. So let's sentence El Corvio to capital punishment. Or should I fine him? No, I always say these ones are the best. Oh dear. You shake your head dispassionately. Enunciating every word with perfect precision, you explain the situation to Elvarman. A murder in a duel is still a murder, and the punishment for murder is execution. You do not have the right to distort the law. The magistrate's face falls in surprise. Brante, you don't seem to realize how the world works. I just told you El Corvio plays an important role in the Emperor's court. Are you really so eager to make enemies? Well, you're about to. No connections will protect you if you're so intent upon trampling ancient noble traditions. It seems El Varman is not aware that you have friends in very high places. You tell him in turn. The Archduke's family will readily side with you. The magistrate dashes to El Corvio, fuming with rage at your words. Sir El Corvio, this is a terrible misunderstanding. I'll do everything I can to right this wrong, but these good sirs mean to have you arrested. You give the gendarmes a firm order. Seize the murderer's sword, shackle him, and take him to the prefecture. You dare call me a murderer? Doesn't anyone in your filthy, decrepit province know the meaning of a duel? El Corvio draws his sword and assumes a defensive stance, startling the gendarmes with such a fervent refusal to comply. You start giving commands to the gendarmes. Following your orders, they manage to surround and disarm El Corvio. You head for the prefecture to take care of the paperwork and send a message to Octavia. You ask your powerful benefactress to convince his aristocracy to side with you in ordering the death penalty for El Corvio. He is a complete outsider in Mangra, you're right, who happened to murder the heir to an ancient bloodline of El Este. Surely Octavia can aid her humble servant in such a trifling matter. Her reply takes almost no time to arrive. El Corvio is a staunch follower of the Tempest and the new overseer. This puts him at great odds with my father. Removing him will be easy, especially if you have a proper case against him. Rest assured, Morgan, the Melanidas dynasty will side with you in this trial. As for the other nobles, have no fear. I will let no harm come to you, my dearest human. Nice. El Corvio's trial comes and goes incredibly quickly. The seats in the courtroom are absolutely empty. No noble risks appearing in defense of the visitor from Eterna and attracting the displeasure of Archduke Melanidas. One by one, you present evidence to El Corvio's guilt. The ill-fated noble visitor coldly spits out threats in return. The Board of Justice, presided over by Elborn, makes its final judgment. Sending a noble to the hereafter is never easy, but there are times when the court has no other way to instill respect for imperial law among those of the noble estate. So El Corvio, we hereby sentence you to true death by decapitation. The sentence will be carried out in Majesty Square tomorrow. El Corvio is silent, unwilling to believe in what has just happened, but the verdict has been made. El Corvio is taken to the dungeon, the shackles still on his wrists. Tomorrow the city of Anizot will for the first time witness a noble being executed for a duel. The aristocracy of Anizot is indignant over your decision. They fear what might come next, and yet El Corvio's shameful end on the executioner's block goes seemingly unnoticed in the capital. Soon rumours begin to spread. Some say the beheaded nobleman was indeed a traitor to the crown. Why else would the Emperor's court ignore the beheading entirely? Or was it all the handiwork of Archduke Melanidas himself? Soon after the execution, something arrives at your doorstep, a small yet hefty chest with a note attached. Oh no. My career went down for that shit. I thought it would actually go up. Sir Brante, we realize how difficult it must have been for you to deliver this strict yet righteous verdict. We mourn the loss of our son who transgressed against the law forbidding all duels, yet justice has found his murderer thanks to you. Please accept this humble gift as a token of our gratitude. Oh, that sucks. My wealth has gone up, which is nice, but it's not what I wanted. Oh well. There's pros and cons of having the decisions laid out for you, like I have in my other playthroughs. The hunt for Tomas. So, I'm going to leave it there. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Things are really gearing up and getting more and more intense and difficult to choose, and my plan of making everything perfect is not going to plan at all. We need a much higher reputation and wealth to get what we need for a noble by the throne. We need 8 reputation, which I'm not going to get, unfortunately. But anyway, we shall see what happens. I will see you all in the next video. Take care and have a good day.